So welcome back to another video, guys. In this week's video we're going to set up yet another gecko enclosure, this time for something a little bit more different to what I've got now. Yeah, things have really kicked off with the whole gecko thing again. I've gone full circle, so stick around, hope you enjoy. So the geckos for this enclosure should hopefully be coming within the next few days. So I decided, rather than waiting till right when they turn up like the last lot, I'm going to get this thing well and truly prepared for when they do arrive, so I don't have to muck around and they can just go straight in their new home. So this little tank here, this is a little Reptile 1 Mini T2. The dimensions, I believe, are 45 centimeters, 30 centimeters deep and 16 centimeters high. Awesome little terrariums. They're just a slide lid terrarium. I'll squeeze it out at the bottom here. Surprisingly, they haven't been overly popular at the shop, but in saying that, I don't think these are the most perfect terrarium because the lid can get a bit of a sag in here somewhere. So if it does happen for me, what I'm going to do is probably just put through a paper clip just so I can kind of pull it up through the center just to make sure I can lock it properly. This one seems fine, however, so I'm not too concerned. Awesome little tanks. The species of gecko that's actually going into here is a desert dwelling species that occurs both in the Northern Territory and in North Queensland as well. These guys actually like living in little spider and scorpion burrows and things like that, so it should be a little fun terrarium to set up, just something different. These geckos don't get overly big either. They only get to about 6 to 7 centimeters, including their tail thereabouts. So anyway, let's get started. So first things first, if you're going to have a desert terrarium for an Australian species, you definitely got to have some red desert sand in there. This is the one that I actually prefer from Hi-Tech. It's got a little bit more natural textures and stuff through it. So I'm going to dump a whole heap of this in here. That'll probably do to start. I'm going to kind of ramp it up towards the back as well. So as I said, these little guys live in spider burrows and scorpion burrows and things in the wild. What I'm going to do to replicate that is I'm actually going to use a bit of this corrugated tubing. And as you'll see, I've also kind of spray painted the end of it just a bit of a dark kind of Albany brown. It's the same spray paint that I used on Loki's shed background. So that'll just help it blend in a little bit better into the sand. Let these guys have somewhere to roam. Should be a nice little simple setup, this one. Nothing too complicated. You can see how that just disappears in there, but it gives them somewhere to hide out. I'll put another one in for good measure as well, hey? So I will add a bit more sand in to the top of this enclosure. That's cool, so we've got a few little burrows in there. So you also can't have a desert terrarium without some form of dry grass. So I've just gone and pulled this straight from the ground. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to separate it into a few pieces, a few little clumps. I'm also going to trim back the tops of the plants as well, because obviously this is way too tall to be fitting in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that quickly with a pair of scissors. So to kind of keep it a little bit more natural looking, I'm not going to just do it straight across the top. I'm going to try to trim a few different pieces at different heights. So there we go, it's kind of shortened, ready for that terrarium. Might have to go a little bit shorter with a few of these. You can tell I'd never make a good hairdresser. So I'll go ahead and I'll quickly do the other ones as well. Okay, so I've gone ahead, trimmed all these back. Now all I'm going to do is find little spots to wedge these in. Because I've got the roots attached to the little bushes as well, it just means I can easily not stand them up, but just kind of prop them up in the middle of all of the pipes and everything. Just gives them something to anchor with. Maybe I'll go another one down in this corner. What I will probably do is also use a bit of the off-cut grasses and just kind of lay it around a little bit, just to add to that texture. Yeah. So what I will also add into the terrarium is just a couple of little tiny branches, just so if these guys do decide to climb around on anything, they've got something just to get up onto. I'm also just going to add in a few little stones as well to just decorate it up a little bit. They're big enough that the geckos aren't going to eat them by accident or anything like that when they're hunting their food. There we go, it's all starting to come together. I think last but not least, gonna need a water bowl. I'm just gonna pop that straight down the front corner here. Nice and easy for me to access. I think it's starting to look pretty good. The only thing I'm gonna do is actually wet down all the sand now, just so it gets a little bit more compact, so it gives a chance for it to kind of hold its shape. Yeah. Hopefully these geckos are going to really love this little terrarium. Doing this now will also give the enclosure a couple of days chance to dry out a little bit as well, just so it's not sopping wet or anything when the geckos do arrive. These guys don't mind a bit of humidity, but at the same time you don't want to be keeping them too humid. We're all set up ready for the occupants. I'm currently not going to provide any heating for this terrarium because, as I said, my garage does get quite warm here during the day when all the other lights are on for the reptiles, so that's going to be fine. During winter I might just add in like a little 5-watt heat mat or something on a thermostat underneath it, just to keep them a little bit of an ambient temperature up to them. Well, welcome back. So, just had my little geckos delivered from Rick. That's Rick Worthy from Worthy Geckos. I have to blame that man for a lot, actually, especially to do with my reptile addiction. Yeah, my first python came from Rick. My first pair of knobtails came from Rick, and that really kicked off my whole idea of breeding some animals and everything. And he's been such a great tutor the whole way through, and he's always been willing to help out wherever he can. So yeah, I've got to say a big special thank you to Rick. And you know, it's great to be kind of back in the gecko game a little bit and getting some stuff from him. Absolute legend of a bloke. So if you haven't already, go and check out his page. It's Worthy Geckos on Facebook. He has pretty much almost any gecko you can get in Australia under the books. But anyway, so I'm going to let these little guys out because it's been a long day for them. And the species that I've come home with, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see in the box too well, it's a pair, a very young pair of beaded geckos. They're absolutely gorgeous.
they're definitely wanting to get out of these little tubs. It's been a long day travelling for them. Not distance-wise, but just time-wise, so... Hopefully I'm getting that shot. I can't actually see the back of the screen right now. It's pretty tight quarters here with all these animals. So I'm going to let these guys loose. And hopefully get some footage of them before they dart into these burrows. He's a fiery little chap. Woo! Jeez, you're vicious. Alright, here you go, mate. Come on. Here you go. It's hard doing this with just one hand. Come on, mate. How gorgeous is that tiny fella? Looks like the male too, I'm pretty sure, judging off that bulge underneath the back of his tail. What a stunning little critter. Yeah, so these are beaded geckos. Absolutely stunning geckos. You don't see them around a lot in the hobby. And it's just one of those things that's just completely different from the norm, you know. So here's this other little darling. See if I can get her out with a few less issues than the other guy. Whoop. There we go. Just move these containers away. Look at that gorgeous little face. Vicious little monsters. Hopefully these guys love their new house. So there you have it, guys. Another video, another couple of little cool critters. These guys are awesome. I can't wait to see them hunting down a few crickets and living out their little lives in this little burrow system here. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Hope you stick around because I have some really cool geckos coming up. Not that these guys aren't cool, I don't want to take away from them at all. But at the same time, I've got something that's a little bit more dear and near to my heart. And yeah, so stick around for future videos because that's going to be coming out very, very shortly. Anyway, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. See you guys.